Hello kids, it's me again, back with another video. So for this very unconventional video, well, it's not that unconventional. I mean, I have cooked once before on this channel, but it was like in 2020. It was like right at the start of the pandemic. I made pizza at my home, not here. Anyway, all that to say is that we're gonna be cooking today, and judging by the ingredients that we have here, we're going to be doing a little bit of baking. I've baked before. I used to bake a lot more growing up than I do now, mostly because, I mean, there's really no reason for me to have sugar in my house or any other kind of baking apparatuses. Like, I had to buy most of this stuff today. I only had maybe 2 of these things already. So yeah, had to spend a little money, less than I thought. I thought this stuff was gonna be more expensive than it was, but it wasn't. And that's actually pretty cool. Anyway, if you are looking at the calendar right now, after this has been uploaded, not any time in the future, just the day of this upload, you will notice that it is Black History Month. And so for that, I decided that I would bake. Why baking specifically on Black History Month? Well, let me tell a short story. So, Jackson State University, which is the major university here in Jackson, has an online archive of Margaret Walker's journals from, like, I want to say the 30s or the 40s all the way up until maybe the 80s or 90s. The lady kept a journal for quite some time, and the Margaret Walker Center, which is located in Ayer Hall on their campus, I've actually been there once, they have all of her journals digitized. And so in some of those journals, she has a lot of recipes. And one day I was just going through the stuff that they had to kind of see what they had, and I found this recipe for pound cake, which I'm going to put up on screen. But as you can see from the recipe that is on screen versus recipes that maybe I am more used to, there's not a lot of detailed steps, as well as, I mean, there are quantities there, but also the page itself just isn't in super good condition. And it's also written in cursive. And listen, I know it's a typical thing to rag on Gen Zers for not being able to read cursive. I mean, I learned how to write cursive growing up, to some people's surprise, I guess. But it can be kind of hard to read, and hers was hard to read. So, because of that, special thanks to the people on the baking subreddit for helping me out with this. They actually looked at the recipe and gave me some pointers and tips on, first of all, what some of the stuff said, and also how to actually execute the recipe itself. So I took the recipe as it was, I wrote it down, posted it on the r/baking subreddit. It was like, hey, help me out, I can't read half of this. And they gave me some stuff. And so I have the modified recipe here, and I'm not gonna be doing this whole thing. I'm gonna be cutting it in half because, number one, I just don't want like a whole cake in my house. I'm not gonna eat like a whole cake. And also, I didn't want to have to buy like a dozen eggs because this recipe calls for 10 of them. So I thought having it would just, you know, be a better idea for my wallet. Also, this will be in the description. I'm gonna put the original recipe, like the page itself, as well as my modified version, the full modified version, not the halved version, in the description. So if you want to make this cake, then you can. Yeah, let's just get started. Enough dilly-dallying. Why did I choose to do this specifically for Black History Month? Well, I don't know. I just thought it would be cool, a neat idea to do a recipe from, this one is specifically from either 1978 or 1979, so we got a little historical recipes. Tasting history, I'm coming for your job. And Margaret Walker was an important and influential person, you know, at Jackson State. I didn't go to Jackson State, but you know, I do live in Jackson, so the influence can't help but be felt. And I just thought it'd be a cool idea. That's really my only reasoning. So we're gonna get to it. Step number 1 is to let all ingredients sit at room temperature for 30 minutes, which I've already done before I started recording, and to preheat my oven to 300 degrees, which it's back here, it's preheating. So recipe. Step number 2 is to separate the egg whites from the yolks. And to do this, I'm probably gonna have to take my jacket off because my sleeves are very large. I have my eggs here. I had to buy 6 of them, and I have containers here, but I think, okay, so I need one of these containers for the wet ingredients and the dry ingredients. So if you're like new to baking or whatever, basically what you have to do usually when you're like making a cake or something is to combine all the wet ingredients and then combine all the dry ingredients. I'm not sure why. I did take a baking class in high school, but it was like never explained. So yeah, we're just gonna do it. I'm gonna use this one for the wet and this one for the dry because I feel like there's more dry than wet or something like that. I don't know. There is a Strat. This is my cooking drink. It's not alcoholic. It's literally what is this? Cranberry black cherry. It's very good. There is a Strat. Oh wait, hold on. I need more than one. Cause okay, I need a bowl to put the whites in because I need to make a meringue. I really should have, you know, prepared a little bit more, but okay, so I need this one then. And so thankfully all my eggs are unbroken. All right, so if I remember correctly, in order to do this, you basically have to crack the egg in half and then like maneuver it between the shells so that the whites fall out but the yolks stay in. So I need the yolks to go in the wet bowl, which honestly this looks too big, so I might need another bowl. I don't know. I'm just gonna keep it like this, okay? So we're gonna try this out. I haven't done this in quite some time, so you know we're just gonna see if I remember how to do this. So crack it very carefully. I'm not a real cook because I don't know how to do it with one hand, but do it in half and then like this. Also, for obvious reasons, this recipe, oh, I did it. I don't know if it caught on camera, but I did. So for obvious reasons, this recipe is not vegan. There's probably a vegan pound cake recipe out there that you can use, but this is not it. Also, this is my kitchen. This is my entire kitchen because that back there, that's my hallway. I had to move this, right? I bought a counter island before I moved in because I just have a sink, a space next to the sink, a very small oven, and like 1/2 of a countertop space. So that's my entire kitchen. I had to buy this, and also you can't see it, but I had to buy a wire rack to put in my, or I guess to act as a pantry because I literally don't have a pantry. We're struggling or whatever, but I'm gonna continue to do this. So a bit of a fun fact about me is that I liked cooking. Okay, we're good, we're fine. I like cooking and baking so much that when I was in the 10th grade, I wanted to go to culinary school, but my father dissuaded me from doing so because he said that that's only something that people do when they don't have anything else, or they can't do anything else, which doesn't make any sense because there are a lot of talented cooks out there. That kind of squashed my Gordon Ramsay dreams, but I still like cooking when I can find the time. And I do, oh no, oh, a little crap, the yolk broke. It's fine. I wonder if I can fish it out. I'm gonna try to fish it out because, okay, that worked very well. I need to make a meringue with these egg whites, and I don't think any yolks can get in. But as I was saying, I do like cooking and I do like baking. I just don't have many opportunities to do so. And also, when you're baking something, there's usually like a large quantity that is made, and like I do like sweets, but I also don't like them hanging out in my house like that. So, you know, that's why I don't do it, and that's why I cut this recipe in half. So the recipe calls for 10. Obviously we're doing this in half, so I'm going to need 5. Also, I can't remember where I learned how to do this from. It certainly wasn't in my baking class, because I knew how to do it before then. But like I said, I had a bit of a phase in the 10th grade, so I probably learned it at that time. Also, if the audio sounds bad, it's because the microphone is like all the way over there, so hopefully my heat doesn't kick on while I'm doing this, but it is very cold. It's February, hello. And I don't want to turn it off because then my toes are going to get cold, and I don't like that. And I also don't like wearing socks in the house because that's a slip and fall risk. I don't see how people do it without like falling, but whatever. It's actually a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. I thought I was going to flop at least once, but no, we did it to a successful degree. Now, what am I going to do with this last egg? I don't know. That's between me and God. Okie dokie. We got the whites separated from the yolks, and now we need to combine the wet ingredients. I'm just going to put this back in the fridge. So I'm going to set these aside because I don't need to whip them up yet. So all the wet ingredients. So I bought some sugar tang. And if you didn't know, sugar is, for whatever reason, a wet ingredient. I'm not sure why, because it's very obviously not a liquid, or even liquid adjacent. So we're just gonna go with it. I need 1 cup of sugar. See, okay, another reason I don't really like baking like that is because I end up buying stuff that I'm only going to use small quantities of. And so I only need 1 cup of sugar, and yet I have 4 pounds of it that I'm probably never gonna use, but I also don't want to get rid of because that would be wasteful. I need a spoon. I should also probably invest in a wooden spoon at some point in my life. I feel like I need one, you know? Here we go. You always want to shake your sugar because if you get a clump and it comes out and ends up spilling everywhere, you're gonna be upset because then you have sugar everywhere. And that is how you get ants. So, I just need a singular cup. I was afraid it was gonna overflow. Oh, I ended up spilling it anyway. God, okay, it's fine, it's fine, it's whatever. Cup of sugar. Actually, this is probably the right size. And see, I need to, yeah, stage everything correctly. Okay, butter. We have 2 sticks of unsalted butter here. The recipe calls for 4, but again, we're having it, and this has been sitting out for 30 minutes, and it's still very hard. I think I'm gonna need to put it in the microwave. I don't know if you guys know, like the LINKZ, like they have like a honey butter in like the container, not like a stick. And I wanted to melt some of that, the honey butter, in like a plastic container. And I don't know if I did it for too long or what, but it ended up like melting through the container completely. And I've never had that happen. In fact, I'm pretty sure I did it for like a normal amount of time too, because I was very astonished that it had happened. So, just as a heads up, LINKZ, honey butter is not microwavable. You might end up creating a nuke in your house, so that's not fun. I'm gonna put this in the microwave, which is behind the camera, and we're just gonna do it for 10 seconds. I don't think that did anything. Okay, now it has slightly melted, but you know what? It's fine. Slightly melted butter. So I'm gonna put that in there. Honestly, this is probably better because, okay, lemon juice. The recipe calls for a juice from 1 lemon, but I didn't want to buy a lemon because I already have the lemon juice in the thing here. So I'm not sure how much juice 1 lemon makes, but we're just gonna estimate it. I know estimating is like a fast road to failure in baking because baking is kind of like chemistry, but I'm gonna say that's enough. I hope that's enough. I know you have to be precise with baking, but whatever. See, now I have this entire container of sugar. I'm not gonna do anything with it. I don't use sugar like that, so it's just gonna sit here. I have some vanilla. So I had to buy artificial vanilla flavor instead of vanilla extract because this was like $1 and some change, and the vanilla extract was almost $5, and I don't get paid until Wednesday. So we had to make some choices today at the grocery store. Some choices, who knows if they're gonna be good choices? I hope so. You know, I hope. Vanilla flavor, vanilla extract, potato, you know? So I need a tablespoon of vanilla. So a tablespoon is 3 teaspoons. And I don't think I have my teaspoon measuring cup, which is so unfortunate. I have 1/4 of a teaspoon. For some reason, I'm like missing measuring cups and spoons. I really don't know where it went. I think this is a tablespoon. What did I just say? We need 1 tablespoon. No, it calls for, okay, we need 1/2 a tablespoon because we're halving this. So I'm gonna estimate again what a half looks like, and we're just gonna go with it, okay? Things, they don't have to be perfect. Perfection is unattainable anyway, so it'll be fine, maybe, I hope. This feels like more than a tablespoon. I don't know why. This feels huge, but I'm gonna try my best to fill it up only halfway. That feels like a lot. And by the way, the original version of this called for 1 tall pour of vanilla. I have no idea what that is. However, I was able to find another recipe of Margaret Walker's, another pound cake that called for a tablespoon. So I'm gonna assume it's a tablespoon. It looks like the right amount. So I think we're in the correct neighborhood, you know? I think that's it for the wet ingredients. Yep. So we're just gonna have to mix them together. This feels right. It doesn't feel like, okay. Okay, this is the size of pan that we're working with. These are small loaf pans. I had to buy disposable, well, I don't know if these are actually disposable, but I had to buy like the cheap ones because, well, I don't have a loaf pan and I really don't want to buy one because I don't really anticipate baking anymore after this. So, you know, we're trying to be economical here. And like I said, I don't get paid till Wednesday. So I could have done this after Wednesday, but by then we'll be like halfway through the month and it's like, we're halfway through the month, I guess. I think it'll be fine. We might have to use 2 of these though, which is a good thing that I have this, since that is apparently the case. This already smells very good, even though it's literally vanilla, egg whites, or egg yolks, and sugar. Smack like if you like the smell of raw vanilla, egg whites, and sugar. I think this is fine. I think this looks fine to me. Because I mean, most of it it's just like the solid pieces of butter that are left. So we're gonna go with this. Dry ingredients. We have our wet ingredients together. Now it's time for the dry. So let's see. Flour. I need I need 2 cups of it. Now, is this 2 cups? I hope so, because I really don't want to have to run to the store again to buy a small quantity of flour. So if it isn't 2 cups, then that's not my problem. All purpose, not self-rising. Yes, it does matter. Oh yeah, I think this will definitely be 2 cups. I'm glad I didn't buy more. Fun fact, well this isn't really fun, because you know, it's depressing. But depressing fact, people who used to people who used to work in like flour mills used to get basically the black lung, but like the white lung, because flour powder would get in their lungs and they would have a respiratory illness. So actually no, I think that was their bakers. Yeah, not people living in mills. Nobody lives in a mill, working at a mill. I don't know why I decided to share that for this, but whatever, man. All right, the nutmeg. Okay, so about this recipe, it calls for a spice called mace, which if you've never heard of that before or only know of it as like the self-defense weapon, it's a spice. I think from what I was told on the baking subreddit, it's kind of like nutmeg. And at first I was going to substitute it for nutmeg before I realized that I could actually buy mace in a store. However, at Walmart, mace was like almost $5, so we had to make another choice. And I had to buy pumpkin spice instead of mace or nutmeg because they were just too expensive. This was like $1.94. I'm not trying to break the bank here, and it'll probably taste fine. It has a lot of things other than nutmeg in it, like cinnamon, allspice, ginger. Jesus, who puts ginger in? Whatever, ginger and cloves. So it's gonna be different tasting, but it'll probably be fine. And I just can't. When you have seals like this that are just round and they don't have the tab on the side, you just kind of have to punch them. Oh! Mistakes were made. Mistakes were surely made. Now I'm covered in pumpkin spice, and I think I got some on my face. Okay, so moral of the story: don't do that. There are other ways. Use a knife. Use a butter knife. Do literally anything other than what I just did. Because now, okay, it's not everywhere, but it's on the floor. God dang it. It's not everywhere, but it's places where I don't need it to be. Be careful opening your spices, or else you might get them in your eyelashes. Okay, how much of this do I need? It says a teaspoon. I guess I'll use half a teaspoon. I don't know if I have I have a fourth of a teaspoon, so that'll have to work, I guess. So I'll just do 2 of these. This doesn't feel like enough though. 1 teaspoon, I don't know. Maybe it is fine. I'm gonna put a whole teaspoon in here. We're gonna do it. We're going for it. I was gonna say it's what Margaret Walker would have wanted, but I cannot confirm or deny that. So we're gonna move on. Let me put the top back on this before it goes everywhere again. Oh Lord, okay. Baking soda. So this calls for baking soda, not baking salt. Thankfully, I already had baking soda. I didn't have to buy it. I had to clean the elements on my stove because for whatever reason, whoever lived here before me just never cleaned their stove. And so the elements were like caked on with stuff, and I had to buy new things that go, what do you call these? That go on the bottom of the freaking elements on an electric stove. They're not called, it doesn't matter. I had to buy new things of those and clean the elements. So if you're trying to clean electric stove elements, the ones that are like actually coils, use baking soda and water. It works. It just works. How much of this do I need? A fourth of a teaspoon. I'm just gonna rinse this off. A fourth of a teaspoon. Well, this says a fourth of a teaspoon, right? But this is the regular version, and I'm having this. So do I need an eighth of a teaspoon? We're just gonna do a fourth. I don't care. If this comes out wacky, it's not my fault. I might end up eating my words today, but I'll also be eating cake. that may or may not taste good because I did the recipe wrong. Salt. I need salt. I need just a little bit of salt. Oh no! It's fine. Salt. Also, that might be too much salt because I didn't have that either, but you know, what is 1/8 of anything? So that's everything. We're just gonna spread this around to make sure it gets, you know, please don't fall. Yeah, that's good enough. So we need to combine the wet and the dry ingredients. We got our wet ingredients. These are our dry. We're gonna put them in there. Okay, it's fine. I was gonna say this doesn't look like enough, but I think it's fine. Also, you may be realizing that there isn't a lot of like actual liquid in this cake. There isn't. I was kind of confused as to why we didn't need to add any like water or milk or anything like that. But there was none mentioned there. This is the amount of liquid that we're getting. I'm assuming that's gonna make for a more dense cake. I don't know, maybe. I got the urge to lick out of that bowl, but eating raw eggs is not a good idea, so like don't do that. Oh, well, the meringue. I forgot about the meringue. That's gonna add some not dryness to it as well. So yeah, this is not incorporating as well as I thought it would. I hope I don't have to use my hands. I don't want to use my hands. Yeah, there's like, okay. This is shaping up to be a shaggy dough, like a bread dough, but hopefully it'll get better. I don't know. I don't know if this feels right. I can't say whether or not this feels correct because it kind of doesn't, but I'm just gonna, okay. It feels more like a cookie dough than a cake dough, just like the way it's shaping up. I wonder how a pound cake cookie would taste. Comment below if you've ever made a pound cake cookie and whether or not it was good, and also if it made sense, you know? I think this is about as incorporated as it's gonna get. I know you're not supposed to overmix cakes, but this is basically the bread of the cake world, a pound cake. It's very dense, so I don't think mixing it too much is gonna make a difference, but this is what we're working with. This is what we have. Next step, we need to whip the cream of tartar and the egg whites into stiff peaks. Now, I don't have a hand mixer, which upon hearing that you might be thinking, wow, you're never gonna be able to do that. However, I did buy an immersion blender, and that immersion blender has a whisk attachment. So I was very lucky because if I didn't have one, I probably wouldn't be able to do this recipe. So we're gonna do that. Also, you may, upon hearing that, be thinking, don't you need sugar in egg white whip meringue thingy? And I think you do, so I'm gonna add a little bit. I have our whites here. I'm not gonna do this to show you because then it's gonna fall out. Here's the cream of tartar. What is cream of tartar? Good question, I don't know. If someone knows, then by all means, please let me know because I would like to know. See, it's another one of these seals. I'm not gonna make the same mistake. I'm just gonna use a butter knife because I learned, you know, living is learning and learning is growing or something. I really do hate these seals though, but for $1.94, you get what you pay for, and what you pay for is not the... Okay, part of the paper seal went into the stupid stuff. What you're paying for is not a nice seal. So how much of this do I need? Say a teaspoon. I'm gonna use half a teaspoon for this. And sugar. I'm gonna use a teaspoon of sugar. I don't know what the normal ratio is for making meringues. Hopefully this will do something. I don't know. I don't know if cream of tartar was different in the 70s than it is now. Let's hope not. Because if so, that would be very not good. Just gonna, oh, it went everywhere a little bit. And I'm gonna go off camera to do this because it's probably gonna take a long time and it's also gonna be really loud. So I'm done whipping, and I think, well, okay, it might be a little hard to tell on camera, but this looks like a stiff peak to me. And also just something that I was thinking of while I was doing my whipping. If you can follow directions, you can cook, right? I feel like some people view cooking and also baking. Baking is admittedly a little bit harder, but a lot of people view cooking as like this really weird Herculean task when it really isn't. If you have basic reading comprehension skills, and I mean, we're in that world of the internet now. If you don't know how to do something, look it up. There's no excuse, right? If you can follow basic directions, then you can cook yourself a delicious meal, right? And also, life is about trial and error. So if you're not willing to try and fail, then what is the point? I know trying and failing with food is a little bit different because, I mean, if you fail with food, then like you can't eat. So that's something to keep in mind, I guess. But cooking really isn't that hard. Like, I found that out in the 10th grade. A lot of stuff that looks hard isn't. You just have to follow directions. Could I make a croquembouche? Probably not. Can I make a casserole? Yes. It's really not. There's not a whole lot to it. So just keep that in mind when it comes to like cooking and baking things. So the next step is to fold this meringue that I just made into the batter. And basically folding, that's not mixing. You just kind of have to incorporate it a little bit. I'm not sure if I'll be able to demonstrate what I mean by this, but hopefully you can see what I mean. So we're just gonna dump it in, which, okay, I'm not sure if the peak was stiff enough, but it's fine. And we're just gonna lightly incorporate it. No major mixing. And yeah, this is adding like a lot more moisture to this batter, because before, yeah, it was looking like a cookie batter, but now, well, I haven't mixed this well enough, but it's giving more cake batter. And now that I look at this, this is definitely gonna be a 2-pan situation, so that's fine. I was really only planning on 1, but if we have to do 2, then it's whatever. All right, so this looks, I was gonna say this looks well incorporated, but to be honest, it doesn't, so I'm just gonna mix this a little bit more. I think we're good. I think we're good. I think we really are good. And I do low-key kind of want to taste the batter. Is this everything? Yeah, this is everything. I mean, it smells good. And it does taste good. But again, don't eat raw eggs. It's not good for you. You might die. So now all that's left is to add it to a dish. I need to clean up my area, so I'm gonna snap my fingers and it's gonna happen through the magic of editing. All right, my workspace is clean. Now, I have the batter, I have my pans. I'm gonna use 2 of these, so I'm gonna put this one over here. And I also have this sheet pan, and you may be wondering, what do you need a sheet pan for? This isn't a sheet cake. Well, something that was specified in this recipe is that you have to fill a sheet pan with 2 inches of water and place it below the cake pan in the oven so that it steams the cake, if that makes sense. I've never done anything like that before. I have heard of it, like it does make sense in my brain. So like, I know this is a thing. So there's a little quirk about my oven in that, for whatever reason, a rack is just missing. I only have 1 rack in my oven. So I can't put it in the lower rack. I'm gonna have to put the pans in the pan of water. And I have no idea how that's gonna work out. I have no idea if it's gonna work out. I mean, it fits, you know, so that's good, but yeah, we're gonna see. We're gonna see if I end up burning my house down because of an electrical fire or what. I'm hoping not. I'm not gonna fill this up all the way. And I'm just gonna have to be really careful. I'm just gonna have to be really careful. So that's really all there is to it. I think filling these up halfway is the way to go, considering how long I need to bake this for. So we're just gonna do that. Oh, I made a huge mistake. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. I flopped, I fumbled. Oh no, hold on. I didn't grease these. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. Oh, I'm glad I got 3 of these, because this one, we're just gonna have to set her aside and not use it. I can't believe I committed the gravest mistake in baking by not greasing my pan. Oh my god. So what I'm gonna do, it's the double non-stick method. I'm gonna use some spray. And what I'm also gonna do is I'm gonna put about a tablespoon of flour in each pan and just kind of knock it around so that it's like adequately, I guess, coated. Oh, I'll use a teaspoon. I don't have a tablespoon on hand right now, so. I don't know if this is baking common knowledge to do this. When I learned this, it felt like a life hack. Actually, that's about enough. A teaspoon is enough for the size of these pans. I'm so glad I had 3 of those, because wow, that was so embarrassing. I was very embarrassed. So basically, I just kind of have to be very careful and try to get these. Oh, it's the opposite of careful. Try to get these. We're making a mess today. It's fine. I know I just cleaned my entire house today, but it's whatever. We're gonna make a mess, and I need more flour anyway, so it's whatever. But I can kind of show you. Yeah, I can go back and forth. That feels correct. Just to make sure all the sides are coated, because you don't want it sticking on the sides. You don't want it sticking anywhere really. This looks adequate. So basically, God, okay. We're making a mess. This is what the insides look like. They're coated with non-stick spray and flour. And okay, I have to clean out the sheet pan now because it has flour in it and we don't need flour. Now that that's done, now we can actually add the batter to the pans and not flop. And since this is like not liquid consistency at all, I'm gonna have to spread it out like so. Yeah. I don't know how much this is gonna rise. So I'm gonna add a little bit more though. Yeah, that feels right. Also, I can't decide whether or not this batter looks right. I don't know. I really don't. It's been such a long time since I've made any cake, but also like a pound cake. So we're gonna have to trust the process here. Also, the sun is going down and it's getting dark. And I didn't put up my light because I thought there was gonna be enough because the sun was up, but lo and behold, it's 5 o'clock and the sun's going down. Get every last bit out of this because I paid good money to make this batter and it's not going to waste. So we are a zero-ish waste household in the It's Just Arin household. It looks like we have enough in each pan, and now all that's left is to put it in the oven, but also put the water in the pan. This is gonna be, I'm gonna have to put this in the oven off camera, obviously, because I'll be doing the perilous task of pouring water very close to an electric appliance. So, you know, if they recover this footage after I'm dead, then I'll say hello to Margaret Walker for you all. God, that's so morbid. Jesus, I'm gonna be fine. Okay, I have to stop. Cooking time. I forgot to talk about that. This is supposed to cook for 2 hours, or I guess bake, whatever. It's supposed to be chilling in the oven for 2 hours. But when you have a recipe, you also need to, well, for baking anyway, you also need to change the cook time. And so apparently you gotta cut it down by 20%, and I have the calculations, so let me get those. So in order for this to be the right amount of time, I'm gonna be doing this for 1 hour and 36 minutes, which is roughly a feature-length film. So if you're halving this like I am, then 1 hour and 36 minutes, and that should be enough time. And I also need to hurry up before I lose my light. So while I'm doing this, I was gonna, originally when I was thinking up this video, I was gonna say, oh, I'm gonna play Stardew Valley, but in reality, I'm probably gonna have to edit like the first half of this video. So yeah, she's going in the oven, and we'll be back with cake. So this is where we're at 1 hour and 36 minutes later. As you can see, well, I don't know if you can really tell, but the water has evaporated a little bit. There's still some water on the bottom, but most of it is indeed gone. What I have to do now is, well, first I gotta put it back in the oven and leave it there for 30 minutes. I probably shouldn't have it open because now all the heat is escaping, but whatever. Still got 30 minutes to go before we can try it. I'll be back in 30 minutes.
It's a piece of cake to bake a pretty cake.
Alright, as you can tell by the not great lighting, it's been a while. It's now almost 7:30 and the cakes are done. So this is what they ended up looking like. They've been sitting in the oven with the oven turned off for about 30 minutes. So they're still warm, but it's not like hot. And so they didn't really rise all that much. I mean,
let me ask the audience.
Okay, there goes my heat. It's cold. Oops. They didn't rise a whole lot. I didn't know how much they would, but I mean, here they are. Thankfully, they do seem to have separated from the sides, so they didn't stick. So that, I'm realizing how dark it is. We'll fix it in post. So, I mean, I guess well, I don't have any toothpicks, so I can't really do the toothpick test. But I guess I can do the fork test. So we're gonna just, I mean, the fork is clean. There's nothing on the fork. So I guess it's ready. Nothing left to do but to plate it up. Since I already forked into this one, I don't know. The bottoms are a little wet. I checked the water and most of it is gone from the pan before I like put it in the sink. I'm thinking, you know, the water did what it was supposed to do, and oh wow. Here's okay, I'm just gonna have to bring it closer because you can't see it. But here is the God, the lighting is so bad. The cross section, as you can see, it's kind of dense, it has some air holes though. And the color is a bit dark. It's not white, that's definitely for sure. And it's not like a yellowy cake, if that makes sense. So nothing left but to try it. So here is the first forkful of Margaret Walker's pound cake, a cake that she enjoyed, a cake that other people may have enjoyed, and a cake whose recipe was preserved all the way from 1978 or 79 for me to enjoy it in the year of our Lord, 2023. So, the moment of truth. I mean, it turned out great. Having the recipe and also having the cook time, I think that worked out. Not having the cook time, but reducing it by 20%. I think that worked out. I think that was, you know, it was a decent idea, and everything turned out pretty good. I mean, it's a good cake. It's not as sweet as maybe, I don't know, I would expect from like a cake, but I mean, it's good. It's a good cake. It's not dry. It's not overly wet either. It's just a good cake. It's like, you know, it's like your grandma's cake, which presumably Margaret Walker was somebody's grandma. So, you know, you know what would set this off? I know what would set this off, and I'm about to tell you. If you put raisins in this, now I know there's some like anti-raisin people online, and they're all weird and incorrect, but if you put raisins in this, this would be so good. Like, I don't know if people put raisins in like pound cake, but you could definitely do it with this, and it would taste very good. I feel like it might just be the pumpkin spice that's like making me expect raisins, but I mean, hey, I feel like this needs raisins. If I was gonna make a change at all, I would say add raisins. I don't know, I want raisins. Honestly, despite the fact that, you know, I kind of did some substitutions. Well, I mean, only one major substitution. That was the pumpkin spice instead of the mace, and having the recipe. I thought it would turn out not great, but it ended up turning out fine. So yeah, now I have cake for like 2 weeks at least. That was fun. Kind of a random video, kind of a random motivation, but you know, I don't know. We had fun today. I think we had fun today. I can say I had fun today. Let me know if you end up making this, or I don't know, if you make another one of Margaret Walker's recipes, because again, they are all digitized online. They're all in her handwriting, right? So they're all like cursive. So if you have problems reading cursive because you're like Gen Z or whatever, then you might run into that problem. But for the most part, they are still, you can still understand them. And some of them don't have like detailed instructions, so you kind of have to go off prior knowledge about baking. As far as I know, it is just desserts. I didn't see any non-desserty things. She has a pecan pie recipe, which again, it's just like quantities and ingredients and no steps. And she has a couple other recipes as well. So if you do that, give that a try. If there are any other, I'm not gonna be doing this again, but if there are any other historical figures out there who also kept detailed journals, who weren't cooks, by the way, or like chefs or anything, who had like recipes that were like preserved for time immemorial, I would like to know about them, because you know, I like history, and I like food, and I like food history, so you know, you could share those. That's gonna be it for me today. It was a fun video, and now I have cake, so it's even more fun. Follow me on Twitter, read my Medium articles, and listen to my podcast. And if you don't excuse me, I'm gonna go enjoy Margaret Walker's cake. It's delicious, and I wish you could enjoy it too. You could, if you made the cake, but you know, you get what I mean. I'll see you in the next one.